Straight
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is the three opposites of casual complacency. And we'll get into what that means and why we need to talk about the opposites of that in a moment. But before we get started, let me remind everyone that I have a daily motivation text message. This is a message that I send out for free to your phones every single morning that is guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day. All you got to do to receive it is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day when that message goes out, every member of my text community, which includes you now, because you're going to text me at that number, will be receiving that message. You can even respond to any of those messages and get a direct response from me, because I do take time and go through and respond to some of the messages I get every single day. Secondly, Work on Your Game University is the place where some people often ask me, Dre, do you do anything? Is there another level? Now, when I listen to this show, I get your text messages, I follow you on social media. Is there a next level after this? What can I do after this? Is there a way to work with you directly? Is there a way that, I can ask you questions? Do you offer anything like courses? Do you have coaching, masterminds, anything like that? The answer is yes. The answer is contained in Work on Your Game University. Inside of Work on Your Game University is where all coaching, if I do any coaching, it is taking place in the university. That is where you, as a member, shall receive my 2 physical mailings that I send out every month. One of them is called the Bulletproof Bulletin. The other is called the Black Book. Those are to your physical doorstep, not an email. Your physical mailbox. You remember those? Yes, I will send you physical mail every single month. Those 2 mailings, the Black Book and the Bulletproof Bulletin. That is also where all my courses are. So Bulletproof Mindset 2.0, Content Machine course, Sell Yourself course, Work on Your Game system, Next Mission course, the Business Builder Framework, 30 Days to Discipline, ASAP Confidence. All of those courses are all contained inside of Work on Your Game University. As a member of the university, that is the only way to get access to all of that stuff. The way you join the university is by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. So now with the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into this topic. Casual complacency. This is the opposite of what you want to have if you are serious about working on your game and you're serious about reaping the benefits of the rewards that come from producing results. Remembering that we're in a results-based business, of course you want to produce results because you want to do more business, right? You want to do the main business of what's out there. But if you are casual, that means you are not strongly intentional and on your purpose about what you're doing. So you don't want to be casual. You also don't want to be complacent. Complacent means you're not really locked in. You don't really have any strong energy or intention about where you're going or what you're doing. So you want to stay away from being casual and you want to stay away from being complacent. So casual complacency is a no-no. That is what you don't want. Everybody understand this? So the definition of complacency is a feeling of smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or with one's achievements. This is where you don't want to be. So I want to give a hat tip to Dan Kennedy. He's an old marketing guy. I want to thank him for planting the seed for this idea, because it was him that I heard mention this phrase of casual complacency. And it got me thinking, all right, what are some things that someone can do to counteract this energy? And that's where this episode is going to come from. So he gave me the idea and I went and expanded it into what you're going to get here in today's masterclass. Point number 1. Topic, once again, is the 3 opposites of casual complacency. How to make sure that you stay focused, sharp, and on point. In other words, number 1, deliberate intent. Deliberate intent. Both of these words matter. The word I most often use when describing deliberate intent is what I call conscious. Being conscious of what you're doing. You are being conscious and purposely thinking about the thing that you want to do, and then you are going about that action when you are being deliberately intentional in your actions. Now, why does this matter? And why is this something that you would even need to think about? Isn't this just something that some of you may be wondering, Dre, isn't this something that would just naturally happen with a person anyway? Why do you need to be thinking about this? Why do you even need to say this? Well, let me remind you, 85% of your thoughts and actions are habitual and unconscious, meaning most of the things that you think, most of the things that you do, most of the things that you say are habits. You do them habitually, meaning you are not consciously thinking about them. You are not intentional about them. They just happen because this is just naturally who you are. Remember the law of inertia. An object in motion tends to remain in motion. you tend to do the same things over and over and over and over again. This is a law of the universe. It's a human natural law. All right, this is not a theory. This is something that we all do, whether you want to or not. In other words, most of the things that we do, 85%, we are not deliberate about them, nor are we intentional. So deliberate intent means you are consciously counteracting your natural human instinct and instead thinking about what you're doing and doing things on purpose rather than doing things by rote, doing things by habit and allowing them to happen. You are actually doing them on purpose and doing them intentionally. Now, why would you need to do these things intentionally to be successful? It's because most people by definition are average, remember? So if you want to be different than most people, you have to do different than most people. What most people do is allow their human nature to take over and allow things to happen habitually and unconsciously, and they end up being average doing that. So knowing this by deductive reasoning, since most people end up average, you don't want to be average. How do they end up average? Because 85% of what they do is habitual and intentional. Then you have to not do that. Habitual and unconscious, You have to not do that. You want to be deliberate and intentional. Did you catch everything I just said? Deliberate intent means you are consciously thinking about what you're doing and then doing them on purpose. Remember that all success happens on purpose. Success does not happen on accident. I talk about success happening on purpose back in episode 864. Every episode in the history of the show, by the way, you can listen to at workonyourgamepodcast.com. If you cannot find any episode in the feed, they're all at workonyourgamepodcast.com because the feeds out Spotify, Apple, etc. They only host the last maybe 350 or 500 episodes at the most. So anything that's more than 500 episodes past, workonyourgamepodcast.com. That's where you can get those episodes. And also at dreallday.com, we have everything listed as well. So if you are serious about creating success, you need to get deliberate and intentional about how you are going about creating it. That means you need to take time to think about how you are doing things and what, if anything, needs to change in order for you to get to the success that you want. And it means that you may come to realize that going off of your own resources alone, resources being your time, your intelligence, your knowledge, your insights, your experience, your resources alone may not be enough to help you get you where you want to go. Therefore, you may need to find some other resources to help you get to where you want to be. Casual complacency usually says something like, and check yourself if this is you, I just need to keep working on things and keep doing the same things that I'm already doing. That is casual complacency. And what are you actually saying when you say that? Let me just keep doing the same things that I'm already doing. You know what you're saying when you're saying that? You're saying that I'm going to allow the law of inertia, meaning the actions that I'm already taking, to allow me to keep doing the same things that I've already been doing. Well, let's look at your results. It's not necessarily doing the same things you're already doing is necessarily a bad thing, but we have to measure them against your results. Let's look at your results and let's look at your goals. Are your results matching up with your goals? If the answer is no, and you are not on pace to hit your goals, given your current track of results, your current trajectory of results, then continuing to do things that you're already doing is a formula for failure by definition, because you can see that your current trajectory is not getting you to where you want to go. So if you keep doing it, then where are you going to end up? Not in the place that you want to be. Any questions on this? This is a formula for mediocrity and failure. To keep doing the same thing when you already can see that doing the same thing ain't working. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is your antidote for casual complacency. Number 2, congruent behavior. Meaning your actions are aligned with your stated goals. That's what congruent behavior means. The definition of the word congruent is in agreement or in harmony. Your behavior needs to be in agreement and in harmony with your goals, as we just talked about at the end of point number 1. So look at your goals right now, which you should have. If you don't have goals, then everything I'm talking about here is null and void because we have nothing to measure your actions against. Every action you take and every result you produce or don't produce needs to be measured against a goal. We need a measuring stick. The measuring stick is not what you think or what you feel or what I say or what I think. The measuring stick is the goal. That's why I always emphasize results-based business. The result is the goal. If you don't have a goal, then we don't know if you're getting results or not. So look at your actions. First of all, look at your goals, which should be written down. Now look at your actions for the past 24 hours. Are your actions in alignment with your goals? This is a yes or no question. If someone didn't know you, they did not know what your goals were, but they only had watched you, just watched your actions for the last 24 to 72 hours, here's my question. Could that person guess what your goals were? And would they match up with what your goals actually are? Someone looked at your actions for the last 24 hours, and just based on your actions, you ask that person, what do you think this person's goals are based on the actions that they're taking? Would they be able to accurately guess that you're going for the things that you say you're going for? Or would they be grossly inaccurate based on what they saw you doing versus what you claim to be wanting to do? You see where I'm going with this question? Could they guess your goals just by looking at your actions? Or would they be very inaccurate based on your actions? They would guess that your goals are completely different than what they actually are. And that it doesn't mean that they made a mistake. That means that your actions are incongruent with your goals because they're only going off of what they can see. This is going off of what they can objectively measure, which is your activity. So that means your activities are not lined up with what you say you want. If someone were to, conversely, look at your goals and guess what your actions would be based on those goals, would the actions that that person guessed be a reflection of the actions that you have actually been taking? So if you showed me your goals that you have written down and I looked at them and I said, okay, based on these goals, in the last 24 hours, you should be doing these 7 things. And I listed the 7 things. And then we looked at your last 24 to 72 hours and you had done 0 of those 7 things. Then where's the issue here? Is the issue with me or is the issue with you not taking actions that are congruent with your stated outcomes, desired outcomes? These are questions you could ask yourself right now. You can look at yourself in the mirror and look at your actions and look at your goals and ask yourself, okay, what doesn't belong here? What's missing? What am I doing? What am I not doing? If you are shaking your answers to these 2 questions, then your behavior is incongruent with your goals, which means you cannot be, it is impossible for you to be on track to reach your goals because you're not taking actions that are aligned with these outcomes. And that means you need to make changes immediately. Good news about it is that you would do something about it. The challenge for people, the biggest problem that people have with what I just laid out, this brief little exercise that I just laid out, is that many people never have these questions occur to them. They never even consider them. That's one challenge. And the other challenge is many of you, there are many people listening to me right now who heard everything that I just said, those 2 hypothetical questions that I could lay out that you can borrow and use on yourself. And you won't ask those questions of yourself because you are very anxious about what the answers are going to be and what those answers are going to say about you. And you would rather stay in the dark and keep bullshitting yourself rather than tell yourself the truth about where you're really at and what you're really doing or really not doing. This is this is the rationalization. This is the rational lying that a lot of people get really good at that keeps them in the same space most of their lives. I talk about this in episode 2456, confronting your rational lies. If you rationally lie to yourself and say, I'm just going to keep working on the thing that I've already been doing and keep doing the same thing that I've been doing up to this point, yet you doing the things that you've been doing up to this point has gotten you nowhere close to your desired outcome. If you keep doing it, what do you expect to be different? We all know the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, or telling yourself you're going to do something, yet not doing it, then telling yourself, well, now I know I just need to start doing that, or I just need to keep working hard, or I just need to be more confident, I need to be more disciplined, I need to be more hardworking, I need to be more consistent, I just got to get more locked in, I just got to get more focused. Listen, I hear this bullshit every single day from people. I just need to be more, and then they name some virtuous personality attribute that if they just did more of that, then everything would start working out. Well, mofo, if that was all it took, then you would already be doing it, wouldn't you? That's not all you need. And I just want to let that pause sink in there because there's a lot of people who need to hear that because I hear it every day from somebody. I just need to be more, fill in the blank with some personality attribute, consistency, consistent, disciplined, confident, hardworking, focused, locked in, motivated. All right. None of these is the difference between where you are and where you want to be. None of them. I'm not saying that these things don't matter. I've done episodes on every one of those attributes, more than one probably. But if that's all you needed, you already did it. That's not all you need. You need more than that. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the antidote to your casual complacency that has you stuck in the same spot right now. Number 3, self-discipline. You hear this one every day. Discipline to show up day after day to do the work. Now, you hear me say that every day. Discipline is also about not just what you do, but also what you don't do. Is what you abstain from doing. What are the things that you need to stop doing in order to get to where you want to go? Oh, everybody has a list of these. What are the things you need to stop doing to get to where you want to go? What are some bad habits that you have codified into your personal operating system that you know you need to get rid of, yet you haven't gotten rid of them yet? Mr. or Mrs. I just need to be more consistent. All right. What are some of the things you need to be more consistent to getting rid of? Yet you haven't done it, but you keep saying all the right things. What are the things you need to stop doing to get to where you want to go? Something that I stress is that a lot of discipline and a lot of confidence, and these are two attributes that a lot of people say they want more of. Discipline and confidence are not just about what you can add on and do more of. Discipline and confidence and mental toughness as well are not just about what you are doing, but it's also about what you don't do and what you can stop doing, what you can divorce yourself from. See, these things are not always about adding on. One of the challenges with society today is a lot of people think the difference between where they are and where they want to be is adding on and doing more and working harder and going further and putting in more time. And let me get more information. Let me go to another conference. Let me get more knowledge. Let me read another book. Let me listen to another podcast. Let me watch another 35 YouTube videos, when often the real thing you need is to eliminate a whole lot of nonsense and just focus on the essential things that actually do work for you. And there's your outcome right there. Challenge is many of you can't condition yourselves to do that because you have so deeply conditioned yourself to always be adding on and do more and work harder in order to get to a certain outcome, because that's what you've been taught in your entire life. And this is what's been demonstrated and modeled for you by the people around you growing up. That the difference between where you are and where you want to be is harder work, more effort, more time, more energy, more, when often the difference is actually less. This is why if you look around in any situation and you want to get ahead of the crowd, all you got to do is look around at what most people do and do the opposite of that. What do most people do when they want to get better? They figure out how to work harder and put in more time and more effort and give more energy. What you should do is figure out how to do less. That's where your success might be at. The challenge is not just that you need to do less. The challenge is also, what do you need to do less of? And what do you need to keep around? See, if you don't know the answer to that question, then doing less might actually be disastrous for you, because you might eliminate the wrong thing and do more of the right thing. Or eliminate the wrong thing and end up eliminate the thing that you should not eliminate and do more of the thing that you should eliminate. That's the right way of saying it. See, it's not always about adding on. It's often about deletion and elimination. So what disciplines do you need to put in place? What disciplines do you claim to have, but you are not executing on, which means you don't actually have them? Meaning you're saying them, you're thinking them, but there's an incongruency between your words and your actions. Where are they? What disciplines do you know that you need, but you have been incapable of installing? Thus, you know you need to get help with them. And then the question is, why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Easter Bunny? With all that said, let's recap today's class, which is your antidote for casual complacency, which is a form of the law of inertia, keeping you in the same spot because you are too casual and too complacent about a process that you already know is not working, i.e. your current situation. Definition of complacency is a feeling of smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or with one's achievements. You don't want to be here. Point number 1, deliberate intent. I often talk about being conscious and intentional about the outcomes that you want. This means you being purposeful, purposely thinking about the things that you want to do and then going about that action. Keeping in mind that 85% of our thoughts are unconscious and habitual. You have to do the opposite of that. You got to get conscious and intentional and on purpose about your outcomes rather than just letting them happen. Number 2, congruent behavior, meaning your actions must be aligned with your stated goals. Ask yourself what your goals are. Actually, go look up your goals. Look at them. You should be able to see them visually with your eyes because you have them written down, right? Then look at your actions for the last 24 to 72 hours and ask yourself, do your actions align with your desired outcomes? If the answer is anything other than a resounding yes, then your actions are incongruent. And this is the exact reason why you're not getting the outcomes that you want. And that leads us to point number 3, self-discipline. You hear me talk about discipline every single day, and understand discipline is not just about you doing more of anything. And it's not about you just getting more focused or more consistent or more motivated or more harder working. And these are things that I hear people say every single day. And this is all nonsense. Those are not the difference between where you are and where you want to be. They are byproducts of you putting the right structure in place, and that structure usually is not going to come from the same person who created the situation. They got you in a casual, complacent position that you're in now, meaning you are not the most qualified person to solve this issue. This is why you need to get other people around you. All right? How many times have you heard me say this? Hopefully more than once. If this is your first time hearing it, you will hear me say this again. Just keep listening to the show. So what disciplines do you know you need, but you have not installed? Thus, you know you need to get help with them. And what the hell are you waiting for? Santa Claus? All that said, text me. Let me know the best insight you got from today's class. My number is 305-384-6894. And Work on Your Game University, that is a place where you get to work with me directly, where you get coached by me, where you can get actual results for your outcomes based on what your goals are. And you can stop telling yourself that you're working on your goals when we can look at the last 5 years of your life and we can see that your current trajectory has got you on the 200-year plan of success. I don't know if you're going to live that long. Hey, you make your own judgments on that. It's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you like what you heard here on this show and you know you could use this in your life, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and let's stop playing around. Stop being casual and complacent about mediocrity. Work on your game. Dre, all